Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about plant population. So without wasting time, let's start our topic. So things that we are going to learn are, let me change it to highlighter. Pink color is red. Okay. So first we will see the definition of plant population. What is the need of studying this plant population? Then we will see the introduction, plant population yield, asymptomatic response, parabolic response, square root response, biological and economical yield. Up to here we will learn in this video, and this last two topics will be covered in the next part of this video. Okay. So what is does plant population really means? It is the total number of plants present at unit area of land. Means suppose that there is a 1 hectare area, okay. Then I am planting over there 100 plants. Okay, these are the representative lines for the plants. I cannot draw all the plants over here in this small area. So we will say that there is 100 plants per hectare area or an unit area or unit hectare. This is my plant population, okay. Means how many plants are there in a given area or the plant or the area we are considering, okay. So this is the plant population. So and why do we need to study this plant population? What does the really mean? The main thing is that it directly or indirectly affects the yield, but how it affects that, for that to understand, that is, suppose this 1 hectare area contains 100 peoples and not plants, okay, and due to some reason there was a flood recently, there is a flood in this area, and government wants to help them somehow. So government will help them through what? Through food, through clothes, through shelter. These are the only things through which government can help. So, but the government, how would the government know that how much food is needed, how much cloth is needed, how much space I need for that, for the peoples to stay there? For that, they need to know the human population over there. If they know the human population, just suppose that I'm considered over here, 100 peoples were living over there. So suppose, so the government would need clothes for 100 people, foods for 100 people, area and shelter for 100 people. That would be decided by just knowing human population. Similarly, if the farmer knows the plant population of an area, he would know how much nutrient or how much manures he has to apply, how much the water he has to apply, how much nutrient he needs, how much solar radiation he should allow, how much cost he has to bear for the producing that plant, etc. and etc. There are many types and many needs of this plant population. We all know that in a small area, okay, not in a small area, in many area, if the plant density is increased, that yield of that area continuously decreases. Okay, we all know from the beginning, but actually this is not properly true or not completely true, I would say. Actually, the yield of individual plants over there start decreasing. These are the individual plants, okay. The yield of these individual plants decreases, and not the yield of this whole area. Everyone must be surprised. Okay, let me try to explain it in a simpler way. Suppose I have taken a area, a small area, and there I have planted around some number, small number, 10, a small number, 10 number, 10 plants. Okay, and I have spaced them widely. Means I have planted them with a widening planting space. this planting space is the maximum amount of space that I can allow for planting 10 plants in that small area. Okay. So I cannot give a further more space. If I give, I won't be able to plant 10 plants. So in this condition, it is said that the individual plants give the full yield potential, give the best out of them. Okay. So, but when we start planting them closely, the individual performance starts to decrease. You might be thinking how. Just suppose that there is a family of two people. Okay, the family of two people. Of course, there are two people only. I mean to say they have got two children in their family, and they are both siblings. Okay, and they are siblings are very good in studies and good in everything. But just suppose that if there is this thing, he is showing a very good performance compared to this one, means the other sibling. So he would get jealous. He would get jealous or not? Of course, he would get jealous that the first one would be getting all the love from his parents, and he would not get a little bit. Okay, okay, it will do. But suppose he get jealous and he starts competing with his elder brother or elder sibling, and he also starts performing his best. So they both are trying to perform their best with the resources their parents have given. So automatically the whole performance of that family would increase. The average performance of both of them would increase because they both are trying to perform the best. Similarly, in this case also, when these densely populations, this densely planted populations are do not perform their best when they're densely populated and considered individually. But just think that this whole area is just a family and all their children of this land. Okay, so when I'm considering as a whole, I will say that this there is a competition among these plants for the nutrients and growth factors. So there is an efficient use of these growth factors, and hence the average yield will be maximum in this condition, and it would be best for this land. Okay, here we see the relationship between plant population yield. We all know that there are different types of plants. There first is one type of plant is indeterminate plants, then the other type is determinate plants. We all know this type of the types of plants. Okay, so then relationship of plant population in yield is we see that when the densely populated plants, okay, in that plants the individual plant performance decreases. Why? Okay, if it is indeterminate plants, it is due to the reduction in the number of years, and if it is in determinate plants, it is usually due to the reduction in the size and size of the ear or the panicle. Okay, this is nothing to understand over here, just mug up this part. Okay, similarly this part also, this there is highly branching and non-branching plants. Okay, I'm giving a mnemonic for you all. Just remember high. Okay, high branching or tillering. Okay, in this high, I just I know there's H for that high branching of artillery, and just remember this I. This I is here indeterminate. Okay, why I'm telling this? Because high branching plants or tillering plants just act similar to the indeterminate plants. Okay, just ignore the spelling. If this is indeterminate plants, just acts like the indeterminate plants. Okay, so their number of seeds decreases, and hence the yield decreases. And just the opposite of this high yielding plants, non-branching high branching plants, non-branching plants are similar to determinant plants, and hence there is a reduction in yield due to the reduction in the size of the ears or the seeds of panicles. Okay, and the best example of determinant plants are of these cases maize and sorghum. Here is an important point, this one. Okay, that among all the yield attributes that we consider, taste weight or the seed size, which is the seed side, is the most stable character that we can consider in the plant population. Okay, this is the one important point. This it can always come in the MCQ. This the relationship between plant population yield was given by Holiday in 1960. Just remember this name, Holiday in 1960. He did a great work in the plant population topic. Just remember this name. He gave two responses, means asymptomatic response and parabolic response, and he tried to quantify this relationship, means he tried to give them numbers and then plot a graph, okay, and find out the relationship between them. So let's see what he told. In asymptomatic response, uh, when we apply, first he told them when we apply asymptomatic response. Okay, he told that when there is a plant, and if the whole dry matter of this plant is the economic product of that plant, or the whole dry matter is used as the economic part, then we say that plant density gives asymptomatic response. And what does actually happens in this asymptomatic response? First, let's the graph over here. Okay, in asymptomatic response, this is the yield, okay, and this is the plant density or the plant population. As we increase the plant population, the yield starts to increase. Look, we are increasing the plant population, and the yield is also increasing. Okay, but after a certain plant population, the yield starts to stabilize and forms a plateau. Okay, let's wait. Okay, huh. Suppose that in that area, in an area, okay, this is the area. I am planting the plants in widely spaced area. Okay, just as I told in the first condition that individual plants, that thing, same thing. Okay, I am planting plants in a widely spaced area. Here in this condition there is no competition. Okay, no competition between the plants. If there is no competition, the individual yield will be maximum, of course. But as I start increasing the plant population, okay, I'm increasing the plant population, the plant density I'm increasing, competition comes to role, and the dry matter production of individual plants started to decrease. But as I have told before, the due to the efficient use of the growth factors, the overall dry matter production is the same. How? Because the reduction in the diameter of the individual plants is compensated by the number of plants. Then then we started as we started we are increasing the plant density. We make more plants over here. Okay, we started to grow more plants in more denser spacing. In that condition, we holidays saw that there is no further increase in yield. What does now this means? No increase in yield means there is a plateau or a flat plane in the graph. What does this really mean? This means that the reduction in the yield of the individual plants is compensated equally by the number of plants, production of the number of plants, understood? And further we just if we go on increasing, the plateau will continue and continue. Okay, there is no change in the plateau for a larger increase in plant population also. Then Holiday gave this equation. Okay, y equals to ap plus 1 by 1 plus abp. This is just a formula, just mug up. There is nothing. Just direct application might be there, but nothing more than that. Here y equals to yield of dry matter per unit area, apparent mix yield per plant. The only thing to understand over here is this one, apparent maximum yield per plant. Okay, this apparent maximum yield of per plant is the population. Okay, it is the plant population when I am planting when I am planting the plants at a very widening space. Okay, the ideal condition I told, when the individual plants perform the best. Okay, when there is the wide planting space among them, in that condition the yield received by the plants is maximum, I would say. So but it is not actually the maximum. So here it is said apparent, understood? This why this word apparent is used, you can understand now. So this apparent maximum yield per plant is this condition. Okay, when the plants are spaced widely, and that condition, and that in that condition the yield is known as the apparent maximum yield per plant, and this A represents that yield. And one more thing, this part is known as the competition factor. Okay, in this condition, this thing represents the maximum plant yield which is reduced due to the increase of the competition. Okay, which is reduced due to increasing in the competition and due to the increase in plant density. Wait, let me explain it properly. Just think. Okay, this is the graph. Okay, just think this is the plotting of the graph. Huh. At this point, okay, this is the maximum point where the maximum plant yield I will get. Okay, after this it will become plateau and almost a stable plant population is received. A stable yield is received. So this is the at this point it is the maximum plant yield. Okay, at this point this maximum plant yield, and which is reduced by increasing competition resulting from greater plant density. It is I'm talking about this part. Okay, this maximum. Okay, and this whole term is known as the competition factor. One more important thing is that fodder crops and dense stands are recommended. They are recommended to get the maximum yield. Main condition is this: maximum dry matter is comes from the maximum dense crop or fodder crop field. Okay. In addition to this, it provides lean stems and more leafy fodder. Okay, these are the main two reasons. And this is an important and very common question, that why fodder crops are recounted as dense stands. Okay. Then we will see parabolic response. In parabolic response, it is same as as asymptomatic response, but the only difference is that as the plant population increases, the yield also increases. But after a certain condition where the where it in asymptomatic response it goes a plateau. Okay, here it goes a plateau now. But in this we see with further increase in plant population, the yield starts to decrease. This parabolic response is mainly described in plants where the whole biomass or the whole dry matter is not the economic yield. Okay, in that condition only this parabolic response is applied. And I just we saw in the asymptomatic parabolic response curve, it decreases with a further increase in the plant population. And Holiday gave a quadratic equation or equation for this parabolic response too, and this is similar to a quadratic equation. Okay, but as this is similar to quadratic equation, the main drawback comes from this only. Okay, the main drawback is that in quadratic equation follows a sudden fall. Okay, after reaching the maxima, it follows a sudden fall in quadratic equation. But this curve, this parabolic response curve, is not same as that. It flattens for a period of time and then falls gradually. Okay, this is the main drawback of this, that it is not accurate for as we accurate mathematically. So to you improve this or to overcome this disadvantage, square root function was discovered. There is nothing much difference. The only difference is that we take the root of p, and in that parabolic response curve given by Holiday, it was taken Cp square. It was given a square of p, but here we are taking a root of p. There comes the reciprocal function. This is mainly the relationship between the population and yield. Actually, it first links the average yield and the plant density. Okay, by using this formula, 1 by W equals to A plus B. Then it connects the economic yield with the plant density, finally connecting the population and yield of the plants. Using this equation, 1 by W equals to A plus BP plus CP square. You can see this is similar to the quadratic equation we used in the parabolic response. Just the difference is that we were taking Y over here, which is was the yield of our yield, but we have taken here 1 by W. Then we will see biological yield and economical yield. Okay, what is the first? Let me point out the difference between biological yield and economical yield. Economical yield is that yield which through which we can collect money or cash from the market. Okay, but biological yield takes consideration of the whole dry matter of the plant system. Okay, biological yield is the total dry matter accumulation of a plant system, and surprisingly they are also interrelated, of course. So how they're related? Just suppose I am plotting a graph of biological yield and economic yield with this side yield and with this side plant population. Okay, we see that the maxima at which the biological yield reaches a plateau, means at this point when the biological yield starts to move like a plateau, at that point it is the maximum economic yield we can get from that plant population. Means at that point it intersects with the max economic yield. And let's see when the what the dry matter that is accumulated by the plant is used when and when, and we will also explain the intra competition. Okay, so let's start this part. Okay, in the suppose there is a plant. This is very young in this vegetative stage. In this stage, all the dry matter produced through photosynthesis is distributed among the plant leaves and the stem itself. But as it grows and enters the reproductive stage, the it starts to proliferate and produce flowers and inflorescence, thereby sharing its dry matter between the flowers, stems, and the leaves. Then, after fertilization, after first pollination, then fertilization, seed starts to set in. When the seed sets in, the plant would try to give most of the dry matter to the seed, related, giving rise to the internal competition among all the parts of the plant. Just suppose, let me explain it in simple words. Just suppose there is a family of two, okay, family with two children. The suppose the young child is there, and he has got both are young first. Okay, they are given equal allowances or equal resources. But as they start to grow, one starts to showing better performance and better. So the most of the resources are given to him. So there automatically the smaller child would start to compete with the younger brother or younger sibling for the resources. Similarly, this this is the internal competition of the family. Similarly, in plants also, we can see that there is internal competition among the parts of the plants, and it is very severe in high plant population and we can see in sparse population also this internal competition is seen, but it is very high in the high plant population. And due to this, we can often see that in reproductive stage most of the plants are barren, means the leaves have drooped down and fallen off, and this leads to decline in the overall or the decline in the individual dry matter performance, okay, dry matter production. But as a whole, the total dry matter production is may remain same or may change or increase. This then Donald, this person Donald, not Donald Duck, not Donald Duck. There was a person, scientist known as Donald. He in 1963 he described the relationship between the yield and plant density with the help of interplant competition, intra-plant competition, and at the time which competition sets in. First, let's see what is interplant competition and what is intraplant competition. Interplant competition is that the competition between the two plants or three plants or four plants, the competition between the plants. Okay, that is interplant competition. And intraplant competition is the competition that takes place within the plant itself. That is intraplant competition. This person Donald gave three cases, okay, to explain its theory. So in the first case, he spaced the plants in a in a wide space. Okay, here there is a spelling error. Okay, this will be with. Okay, he spaced the plants with a very less density, and at this condition there was no competition among themselves, means there is zero inter-plant competition and intra-plant condition in the young or the early stage growth of the stage of growth. As it enters the reproductive phase or the vegetative phase, more number of flowers, more number of parts starts to grow from this from the individual plants. So intra plant competition or inter plant competition both start to set in, but the effect of intra plant competition is more. Okay, there is a bit change here. It would be intra plant competition, okay, not inter plant competition. Here this is intra, okay, not inter. This will be intra plant competition sets in, and due to this load of the inflorescence fruits and blah blah blah, there is competition among the plants and it's among the plant parts, and hence it loses its efficiency. Let's see the next condition. In the moderately dense strand, the interplant competition becomes operative. Okay, in this condition, the interplant competition becomes operative, and similarly at the flowering stage only it will mainly start occurring. So in this condition, the individual yield is reduced. Okay, individual yield is always reduced, but the but due to the interplant competition, increase in interplant competition, the yield is further reduced. Okay, and it is capable, although it is capable of giving its full yield, okay, full potential, a bit of difference is seen. Okay, in case 3, in extremely dense stands, the competition at the time of flower initiation is intense. Okay, at the time of flower initiation, it is very very intense. The competition, both inter and intra, intensely planned, and hence the yield suffers a very very much loss. Okay, there is a very high loss seen in this type of condition. Okay, that is all for today. The PPT for this video will be available in the description below. If there is any doubt, please comment in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.